Have you ever wondered if you choose this life before you were born? What if the people you've loved, the challenges you faced, and even some of the biggest lessons were part of a plan your soul helped create before you ever got here? Welcome, friends, to the gathering place of angels in light. Today's episode: why do we incarnate? What is reincarnation? Soul contracts, life blueprints, and QHHT. We are Angels in Light, based in Kansas. I am Kim, the co founder of Angels in Light. I am an angelic Reiki master and past life hypnotherapist.
And I'm Patti, a lifelong psychic medium with a master's in psychology and a mission to combine the esoteric with the science and help people bring that and ground that into reality.
Hi, Patti.
Hi, Kimmy.
Glad to have you here today chatting with me.
Me too. This is such a big topic.
Yes, it is. So let's just dive in, huh?
Perfect.
Okay. If we're spiritual beings and we come from a place of love and connection, why would we choose to come here at all?
That is the $1 million question.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the biggest questions people have. It's kind of like, what is the reason for our existence? Why are we here? Why are we here?
Mm-hmm.
And from what I've seen, and you do, QHHT too, and we'll explain
Yes.
about that later.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the reasons souls incarnate is spiritual work. Imagine reading about love in a book versus actually falling in love. It's not the same thing. Reading about forgiveness versus having to forgive someone who hurt you. It's about having and wanting the experience. It's about wanting to feel and learn and create and struggle and evolve in ways that simply aren't possible from a purely spiritual perspective.
So you're saying we signed up for this?
We did.
Oh, Lord.
I know. And you picked everything about your life too.
Oh, my goodness. This is where people get curious. Do we actually choose our lives before we're born?
Yes. Now, that doesn't mean every single little detail is mapped out, but we have a thing called, I like to call it the blueprint. And
Okay.
so before you come down and incarnate in a certain life, you have a basic blueprint of, where are you going to be born into, who your parents are, who your friends are going to be. Do you have soul contracts with those friends to teach you certain lessons or for you to teach them lessons? And it's a blueprint and a roadmap of what you want to accomplish in this life. So certain opportunities, lessons, relationships, experiences may be part of that blueprint, but that is where free will comes in, is you have the opportunity to change, little things in the blueprint.
That's awesome.
I know.
There's always free will.
It's always free will. The destination may be on the map, but there are many roads that can get us there. So the blueprint is just the destinations, the important destinations on the roadmap. If you decide to take the 5 hour route instead of the
Yes.
hour route,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. It may be harder, it's going to suck, but you chose to
Mm-hmm.
go that way,
Yeah.
and you may get more out of it in the long run.
Right. Some lessons that you didn't even know you'd be able to achieve by taking the 5 hour jaggedy cliff hanging route.
Yeah, and you may have seen the sunset off that cliff that you never would have if you would have taken the direct route. So it's all about, it's not how you get there, it's that you eventually do get there. And that's what the blueprint's for.
People hear the term soul contract all the time. What does that actually mean?
So a soul contract is the idea that before incarnation, souls may agree to play important roles in one another's lives. And this is where it gets interesting. So sometimes those roles are beautiful and sometimes they're challenging. The person who becomes your greatest love in one life, maybe your biggest villain in another.
Mm.
And so people don't realize that it goes both ways. The child who teaches you unconditional love, the friend who changes your life, even the difficult relationships that force you to grow. That doesn't mean we have to stay in the unhealthy situations. I want to make that clear. It's not, oh, they might be have been my greatest love in a past life, even though they're, a narcissist in this one.
Right.
Has nothing to
Hmm.
do with this life. You chose this life to learn a certain lesson. You getting away from that relationship is that lesson. It simply means some relationships may have deeper purposes than when we understand in that moment. So it's an agreement. It's an agreement between two souls, most likely that belong in a soul family.
Hmm.
And they said, you came to another soul and said, hey, I really need to learn this lesson on whatever it may be, healthy boundaries, on, spiritual growth, whatever it may be, and be like, can you help me with this? And they're like, sure, but next time, can you do this for me? Sure.
Yeah.
And you're, and you're making deals, you're handshaking up there and be like, okay, I'll help you with this, and you can help me with that. And because
Hmm.
you guys are on the same level and you're agreeing like a business
Hmm.
partnership or
Hmm.
whatever it may be to help each other out. You're like, heck yeah, I'll help you.
Hmm. Yeah, they're high-fiving it until they get down here. And they're like, what the heck did I do?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hard because I think that's why some people have such a hard time. I see it a lot in hard relationships. They have this, well, I love them so much and I can't let them go even though they're toxic. It could be, I'm not saying it is all the time, but it could be because you did have past lives with them in different scenarios. You probably had a beautiful life in one or whatever it may be, and your soul does remember that, but it doesn't mean that's who they are in this life.
This is probably the hardest question. If we plan our lives, why would anyone choose difficult experiences?
And that is such a good question. I don't believe souls here come here wanting suffering. They don't want to come with specifics of just, oh, I want to suffer and I want to be miserable. But they do come here seeking growth. And so that's the other side of the coin. So they
Mm.
know that lessons emerge through challenges. And so they're coming here seeking growth and understanding and compassion and courage and healing. And how do you get that stuff? How do you go and acquire higher spiritual, enlightenment and growth for your soul and all this? You have to go through challenges.
You have to experience all of it. So
You.
if you were a very rich person in a past life and you treated the poor abusively, you may choose to come back and be in poverty, someone on the street,
And
someone begging for food.
that's a really good example. Yes.
Hmm.
I know you've seen that and I've seen that a lot
Hmm.
with the work we do. It's seeing different sides of the coin. It's seeing different, the light and the dark, and fully experiencing the capacity of life, the complex life. And they'll eventually discover meaning and strength and wisdom or their purpose with from these experiences that they have struggled with that they never would have chosen consciously. So no one
Hmm.
wants to choose consciously to have hardships and struggles, losses.
Hmm.
Um, we as humans, we try to stay as clear of that as we can.
Yes, ma'am.
No one's like, oh, I'm going to jump into that fire,
That's right.
you know.
Right.
But our soul knows better,
Hmm.
and that people struggle with that. They're like, why would my soul choose this? Well, your soul can see the bigger picture. They can say, hey, you kind of did this in a past life, or this happened to you. And so we want to see the flip side.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we do the blueprint before we come down, is because your soul can see everything that you need to grow and you can't. And you would stay away and everyone would be living, cushy, no
Right.
hardship, beautiful lives if they could. Of course they would.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get growth out of that.
Mm-hmm. That's why I think it's so important. If you're curious about why am I here? Why have I chosen this hard path? Or why have I chosen this easy path? I think it's so important for a person to experience a past life hypnotherapy session or seek out a psychic medium to get some of these questions answered. And it seems to help you to understand more all those whys. And then
Yes.
from that, you can continue on your mission of growth. And it helps you to feel more in power.
It's also a cheat code.
Hmm.
I like to call it a cheat code. So
I do
stuff like
too.
that. It is. It wouldn't be placed in our sphere of understanding if it wasn't meant to help us.
That's exactly how I feel. You would not have come back in this lifetime as a psychic medium. We would not have people being trained in past life regression if truly cheating.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's put there for the people that are ready to use it. Not everyone's ready.
Hmm.
Everyone needs to use it.
Right.
But it's for those souls that are need that extra boost or need that extra healing. It's for those that are ready to address certain things that they really need to address that they're not going to find on their own.
Right. It's not may not be something they want to hear. So they need to be ready to hear
Mhm.
the whys.
Yeah. And there's
Hmm.
not a lot of souls that are at that level, honestly. In the ascension path, there's many, but not that many. And
Hmm.
so that's why I like to call them little cheat codes, because those are the cheat codes for the ones that are ready.
Mm.
They're just another tool to get them over that hump that they've been stuck in. They're the generational curse breakers. They're the ones that are maybe usually on one of their, last lives
Hmm.
and are ready to graduate into something more and beyond. And they're breaking a lot of patterns and breaking a lot of cycles that they've been in, and they're ready to heal that and help other people start healing.
That's what
That's
I was going to
another key
say,
thing.
that by their journey, they can direct others to find that same sort of help.
Yeah, they're graduating from students to teachers.
Hmm.
And so that's why QHHT and psychic mediums and all these healing modalities are there to help them get over that last cycle of incarnations that they've learned from and be like, okay, you've learned enough. Now it's time for you to teach other people.
Right. Ah, that just gave me butterflies. So, where does reincarnation fit into all of this?
It is, this life is in our first experience, but it likely won't be our last. And reincarnation is been around. It is one of the oldest lines of theology that we have had as a human species. It's
Hmm.
been around forever. Think it so Dolores Cannon said this. Think of life like a Earth is a large school. And you're attending many different classes, and you have to keep going back to this school. And one
Hmm.
lifetime may focus on leadership, and another on compassion, and another on family, another on self worth. And each life offers new perspectives and opportunities for growth. And the soul
Hmm.
gathers wisdom through many, many, many
Hmm.
different experiences, and sometimes thousands, sometimes hundreds. I mean, I've seen, sometimes souls are new to this earth, newer to this
Hmm.
earth, and then they only have a few. They had lifetimes on, other places. I mean, you never know what someone's journey is, but everyone has their own journey, and there's a lot of lifetimes.
It's just fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
And we
It
bring all these different essence of these various lifetimes, whether you're on another planet, an alien race, human race, animal race, a rock,
a
and
tree,
ear of corn. So that accumulates to who you are right now.
and you are a sum of all your experiences. Bring those lessons and that wisdom and that knowledge and the fears, traumas too. I mean, that it explains a lot. So, child prodigies.
Mm.
You have a child prodigy, they play magnificent Mozart on the piano at 2 years old.
Yeah. Hello.
How do you explain that?
Exactly. Or a child who could sketch out the perfect layout of the making of the Titanic ship,
Yeah,
an entire blueprint.
they've had multiple research, Michael J. Newton, different researchers who have actually mapped child stories of remembering their past lives. And then
Hmm.
they go check on it and they'll find completely different countries what this child remembers. They'll find the neighborhood and the family. That's my wife, and there's their wife. And they know
Mm.
their name and their children, and but they're 3 years old or 4 years old, and it should make no sense. Been lots of documentation on this.
Yes. It cannot be dismissed.
It cannot. And the one thing I don't like is the fear of it.
Mm.
Like in some different cultures, they believe like, oh, if I do bad, I'm going to come back as a bug and be squashed.
Oh, gosh.
You know, so there has been kind of a fear thing attached to it, and there should
Hmm.
be no fear whatsoever, because if you trust in yourself and you trust in spirit and God and the universe, they wouldn't put you in situations that are you couldn't handle. You're making your own blueprints, you're making your own, you know what you can handle.
And I don't know of a scenario where someone went backwards in reincarnation, that,
You can't.
yeah, so I wanted you to confirm that. It's like, no,
No, you can't go backwards. There's no.
no,
Mm-mm.
no.
I mean,
Mm-mm.
maybe you need to take a break and you become a tree for 100 years. That's a
Yeah.
possibility. You
Mm-hmm.
could, but it
Hmm.
doesn't mean that's going back. That's you choosing, like, I need to rest.
I need a life to rest.
Hmm.
Life has been hard, and I need to stand in this park and watch the families enjoy one another's company and listen to the children laugh and the dogs playing and have little bugs crawl on me. I think that sounds like a pretty nice
Wouldn't that
life.
be a beautiful life?
Mm-hmm.
And
Um,
your animals, that's another thing. Animals will
mhm.
reincarnate with you too.
Oh yeah.
They'll
Hmm.
come through and stay with you, through certain lives.
So they'll come
So,
back and be your pet again?
yep, they're part of your soul family.
Of course they'd want to come back because they're treated like royalty in my house. So absolutely.
Well, even if they're not, even if they're treated badly, they would still come back.
Mm, good
That's
point.
that's the lesson. So just because you treat someone badly, it doesn't mean they're not soul family. That's what this is
Well,
all about. Just because someone's a villain in your story doesn't mean they're not your soul family.
and that's a tough one,
That is a tough one.
because you're like, I had a friend who was married to a narcissistic, you can blank all these words out, blank, 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 blank.
Yeah, not a good
Yeah,
person.
not a good person. But he's in her soul family, and they had karma to pay back. So yeah, it's really hard to understand that someone can
So
come
she could have
back.
asked him, yeah, she could have asked him, hey, in this life, Can you teach me how to stand up for myself?
Yes.
Can you teach me how to create, good, strong boundaries and not be a people pleaser? And they love you. And that's the hardest part. Sometimes, that's why it messes with your head a little bit because their soul, they love you so much, they're willing to be the villain in your story. And maybe in the past life, you were their jailer and beat them every day. Did something horrible on your end to teach them a lesson. Lessons are
Hmm.
good and they're bad. And there's no, kind of distinction between the two. You're just looking at different sides of the coin
So do people tend to repeat the same lessons over and over?
until they get it. That's something I see a lot. So people find themselves in similar relationships, similar situations or struggles. And it's almost like life keeps bringing it around in a circle. They
Hmm.
keep, presenting the same lesson in different packaging. And it's not punishment. Everyone thinks like, oh, I'm being punished. It's not that at all. It's just
That's
another opportunity to understand something that hasn't fully integrated yet.
hmm.
But once the awareness comes in, the pattern often begins to change.
So if you
I,
keep running up against the same pattern, it's because you still need to learn the lesson.
you haven't addressed the wound.
Mm, yeah.
So that wound is still open. It's still flavoring everything in your life. This happened to me. I had a huge father wound, and I
Mm-hmm.
kept jumping from the same relationship with men, same,
Mm-hmm.
men, just different men,
Mm-hmm.
not, not realizing it until I addressed that father wound.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you, address the father wound, then you're like, holy crap. And then you get a
Yeah.
different name because that's the one that is supposed to, and that can happen with anything. If you have, a mother wound, it'd be the same thing. If you have a people pleasing wound or being seen wound or, whatever it may be, until you heal that oozing wound, it's going to ooze on everything in your life.
That was a very graphic visual I just
I
had.
know, sorry.
I mean, bandages wouldn't even contain it.
No, you're just
Oozed.
splattering it
It's just
everywhere.
oozing. Oh, and if a person recognizes these patterns, that's when it's time to just stop
Mm.
and ask yourself why.
Yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
that's why they keep presenting it to you. That's why it keeps coming up because you're not learning, not
Mm-hmm.
getting the root cause. You're trying to bandage it. Oh, everything's okay. Oh, it must be this. Nope. It must be this. Nope. You're not getting
Mm-hmm.
to the root. And once you get to the root and pull that out and it can clear up, then that's when all the opportunities and the, beautifulness can come in because
Mm-hmm.
otherwise you're just full of this not
Mm-hmm.
good stuff. I always when I do my sessions, I always see like what I told you before, just this oozing, infected wound that people try to keep putting bandages over. And they try to keep putting bandages over. They're not even putting, any kind of ointment or anything. It's just bandages.
Uh,
And that doesn't do anything.
do you actually visually, I know you see auras, so do you
Mhm.
actually see goob or
Yeah, that's how they present it to me.
ooze?
If
Mm.
I know someone has a wound, I see the actual wound. I'm like, oh,
Wow. So, like in a particular chakra area or anywhere?
I mean, all overall, they present it in my head.
Okay. So if they
Yeah.
have a heart wound because, heartbreak, either family or relationship, would you see that in their heart
Well, that's
chakra?
different. Yeah, that's
Okay.
seeing their aura.
Okay.
I'm talking psychically, they're showing it to me in my head,
Gotcha.
you know. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I could see, in their aura, okay, it must be your heart because your heart's, closed off. But I could definitely see the wound too.
I remember I was in a relationship years ago, and this person was not good for me. And I had to stop and ask myself, what is it about me why I would choose her. And that
Mhm.
just took me down a rabbit hole.
And that was the perfect question. There's a
Mm-hmm.
common denominator in your life, and it's you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so the people that say, why is this always happening to me?
Uh-huh.
That is victim mode.
Right.
Why is this always happening to me? You're acting like everything is always happening to you. No, you're the
Mm.
problem.
Exactly.
You're the one that is, the main character in your life. And unless your main character is healed and enlightened, and I mean, no one's ever fully healed. I don't like to say healed, but
Mm-hmm.
aspects, yes, can
Mm-hmm.
be more healed than others. But work on yourself. Work on
Yeah,
yourself before, especially if you're trying to help others.
absolutely.
I've seen a lot of unhealed healers. That is
Mm-hmm.
so dangerous because you're basically trying to get other people to heal their wounds and you're oozing all over their wounds.
Yeah.
Sorry. I know
No,
that visual is not, but it's such a good visual because it
it
literally.
is. It's powerful. And that's another topic, but that's when your intuition, your discernment comes to play. Is
Mhm.
if this person I'm seeking help from maybe oozing as well, this is not a good thing for me.
No, it is not healthy
No.
because they're projecting on you. They're projecting their own, and that's where I get, they're oozing on you.
Yes.
There's so many psychological words for it, and they're leading you in situations and places that is not coming from a healed, healthy space.
Mm-hmm.
And that can't be good. And
No.
if you're not healed and healthy, how are you going to help anyone else either?
Right. Trust your instincts
Trust your
when
instinct.
when you go and you seek healing from someone, whether it's a
Mhm.
therapist or Reiki person or you know.
Yeah. And if anyone ever claims that they're fully healed and they found a magical way, and they're lying.
Red flag number one.
That is the number one red flag. Oh, I've healed and I'm enlightened. And, this
Yeah.
is the only path to get to there.
Yeah.
That, no.
Or my way is the only way.
Yeah,
That's another red flag.
that's a huge red flag. That's very religious, first of all. That's very cultish. Yeah. No, there's multiple routes, just like the blueprint. We all
Mhm.
have free will. There's multiple routes to the same destination. Some people, it may take them their whole life to heal. Some people may take them, a couple years. Some people go through it quick. You never know. But you're never fully, absolutely healed. There's
No.
always going to be some sort of scar on that wound. That's just how it is. But as beautiful as you can take that scar and you can show other people.
Right.
And that's the whole point of it is like, hey, I have this scar. It's from this and this and this. Isn't that cool? Is that I healed it? The scar is still there, but I could show other people and help them. Share how I did it, and maybe that'll help them figure out how they could do it on their own.
Exactly. May not be the same path or the same
Mhm.
way, but it's to let them know you can get through it.
You have hope. There's ways of
Yes,
doing it. It can be done.
it can be done.
Mhm.
So let's talk about QHHT because some people may not even know what it is, and we've dropped those acronyms several times in this conversation.
I know. And you're a practitioner in this.
I am.
You are. I've
Mhm.
done a lot, but you actually practice it. So do you want to say what QHHT is?
Sure. Well, QHHT stands for Quantum Healing Hypnosis Technique, and it's a method developed by Dolores Cannon, and it guides people into a deep, relaxed state where they can access information beyond the conscious mind. It is amazing People often
Mhm.
explore past lives and they receive insights about their current life and understanding repeating patterns, and they connect with a deeper aspect of themselves. It's one of the most fascinating ways I've seen people gain clarity and healing.
It is amazing. Even when you're talking, I can hear it start coming out. Because you actually put people into a deep hypnosis, correct?
Yes, I do. I
I,
do.
I think you just talking about it, you were automatically going into your voice.
Do it. It triggers me, and I'm ready to go. Let's do it.
And you could do it individually and group, correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yes, I've had some fascinating sessions. Some people go to a earlier time in this current lifetime because they need to revisit something that was, they need to be enlightened, or they need to remember what life was
Mhm.
back then. They need to bring that forward in their current life to heal. Um, those have been really nice sessions. I've had several sessions like that. I've had people who were afraid of snakes and could understand why until they find out that they were actually killed by a snake in the past life. So once you
Right.
recognize these fears, then you can realize that it doesn't pertain to this particular lifetime, and and let it go.
Well, I think one of the things that you say in the induction is anything that is connected to this life, we need to visit, correct?
Yes, exactly.
So you're specifically going under, and anything that is connected and to this life, affecting this life, then you would
Exactly.
go back to those lives.
Exactly. The higher self will take you back to the lifetime that most pertains to the current lifetime you're living now. So
That is powerful.
it is powerful. And you not only drop down into that particular lifetime, you can get so deep that as we unfold the scene, I'll ask questions, and then as I ask questions, the vision becomes more clear for the client. They
Mhm.
can get to the point where they start to taste the food.
I've heard of people actually speaking foreign languages they've never spoken.
Yes, I had a client who was a German man in World War II. No, I'm sorry, he was not German, but he spoke German. I think he was Jewish, and he was hiding out in a lighthouse away from the German soldiers. And he had to send
Mhm.
his family, who had a different last name than him, to another country for safety. That was fascinating.
That is fascinating.
Hmm.
And he
And my
probably brought a
client,
lot of those fears into this life. That's why he was shown that life. Right.
exactly. Yes. I had a client who was able to visit with her late husband, and it was so clear. She smiled on the table and said, "Oh my gosh, it's my husband." And
Oh,
it was beautiful.
that is beautiful.
Hmm.
What are some of the most common themes, do you think, that people discover?
One of the biggest things people discover is that they are carrying far more wisdom than they realize. I've seen people understand lifelong fears, discover why certain relationships felt so significant. They gain insight into repeating life patterns. That's an interesting one.
That is interesting one.
Hmm.
Yeah. I actually just wrote a book about that.
Oh yeah, you want to speak on that a little bit?
I have a book coming out soon on Amazon. It's called Burned but Not Broken. And
Mm.
it's about my QHHT sessions and about 7 different lives that I have visited in my QHHT sessions about being persecuted and how that pattern presented in this lifetime and how I'm healing it. So it's a little bit of a memoir, but it's also a self-help book because it helps people, how does this apply to your life too? It's about
Hmm.
persecution, about being seen, about lifelong fears and healing that and moving on from it.
That's amazing. I cannot wait for your book to come out.
And me too.
Mm-hmm. And I guess I could share that I have a similar background as well, of persecution. I was a high priest in Egypt, and I don't know the entire story, but I was responsible in delivering messages. And I did that through the water. Somehow I was able to manipulate water and send codes with messages to people. I suppose I ran for some time, but they eventually got me. So,
They always do, right?
yeah, so, so with Patty and I making this choice to do these podcasts and the retreats and such, it's actually a part of our healing.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we healed the majority of it. The last vestige is to show people that scar and be like, hey, if you have anything, similar, we can help because we've been through it.
Mm-hmm.
Persecution has been such a heavy theme for so many people, especially in this line of work, that
Yes.
it's amazing. There's been thousands and thousands of years of persecution and silencing and closing off people's voices. And I think for the first time in a long time, that's why so many of us are born in this era. We have the freedom and the
Mm,
safety of being able to speak our voice.
exactly.
We haven't had that in so long.
If ever.
Maybe like before Egypt, we're back
Well,
matriarchy.
yeah, right. Before all that took over, when they wiped the feminine aspect of our history.
It's been millennia.
Yeah, it's been a long
Oh,
time.
it's been, and so we have so much wounding around the subject of having our voices silenced and not being able to speak our truth and be who we really are in so many aspects. It's not just it's who you love and who you are and how you present
Exactly.
yourself, your true essence. People have
Mm-hmm.
had to suppress for so long.
Yes.
And being able to put that out there for the first time, it's like freaking people out.
It is. And if someone wants to talk to us about that, please reach out because we walked it. We are walking it. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's why we're doing what we're doing is
Mhm.
not only trying to help ourselves and have our voices speak out, but to help other people, spreading the love of the healing and the more we can touch, the more they can touch, and it just spreads.
And it's a great wildfire, isn't it? That's the kind you
Right.
want.
Yeah.
So with the QHHT, people often leave with a greater sense of purpose and peace. And isn't that what we want?
Well, yeah.
Purpose
Like we
and
said
peace.
before, QHHT is one of the tools. It's one of
Yes.
the cheat codes. It's one of the things that gets you over such a big hump, and you can see a bigger part of that blueprint. You can be like,
Yes.
oh, yeah, that's why I came down here.
Right.
That's my
It,
general theme.
yeah. Yeah, that's my general theme. Good point. Have those aha moments, and then you can just advance so much quicker, fully, not just reading a book. You can
Yeah.
explore it much deeper within.
And I like it because it's actually coming from you.
Yes,
I think that's why a lot of people are drawn to this is because it's not someone else telling you something,
yes,
you're telling yourself.
yes. You are seeing it, feeling it, sensing
Experiencing
it
it.
yourself. All I do is ask the questions,
Yeah.
and you're awake the whole time. You're watching a
Mhm.
movie unfold in your mind, and the sensation of it is incredible. I had a friend who went back to a lifetime, and in this lifetime, he's a male, and that lifetime, he was a female. and he lived in the woods. We're saying it's Oregon because he loves Oregon. And he was lived there with a small community, and they built homes, and they lived off the land, and he worked with his hands every day. And during the session, he was wringing his hands back and forth, and it was his hands became extremely painful. So once we were finished with the session, one of the first things he did was, of course, open his eyes, and he looked at his hands because he kept thinking that they were cut up and bleeding. And it took him a while to realize that that was not this current life. It was quite fascinating.
Because it's
Yeah,
real. It's
it's
you
real.
actually living that life.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, there's a lot of fears around it. I've heard of like, oh, first of all, those hypnotists that do like the duck quacking,
Yes.
they made a bad name for it. That's not what happens, right?
Right. It's a totally different hypnotherapy. It's hypnotism or whatever. It's the stage act. It's not one where you connect with the client on the table and you,
It's intimate, it's one on one.
yes, it's intimate. It's, we connect an hour or so before we even do the session. And there's a lot of trust between you and the client before we do the hypnosis session.
That's good. And yeah, that's one of the fears. Another
Mhm.
fear is that you completely lose control of yourself. That's not true.
No, that's not true at all. You know you're on the table. You know that you're in the room, but your mind is seeing all these visions and you're feeling all these sensations.
And then another concern I've heard a lot is that it's just all imagination. They're just making it all up.
Yeah. When a person feels the emotions during the session, that is a strong indication that that is not a made up session. The
Mhm.
visions that you experience, whenever there's emotions involved, it's real.
And my thing is, even if it was made up, did it still help you?
Exactly. That's a great point, Patty.
You know?
Hmm. Hmm.
Because I get that
Exactly.
in my line of work a lot too. Like, oh, you're just, scamming people and you're making stuff up. I'm like, well, even if I was, did I
hmm
still have some wise words in there to help you
hmm
out?
Right. And if it's all made up, you did learn a lesson during that session. Something clicked with you that you may not realize at that moment, but when you leave and you listen to the recording again, and it may be a couple weeks, it could be, or even a couple days, it's all going to come into alignment. Yeah.
And that happens to me a lot. Well, and I think it happens maybe in QHHT is because they even tell you like after you have your session, you re-listen to it and integrate it and,
Mm-hmm.
really get what you can get out of it,
Mm-hmm.
afterward. And sometimes when you do something so profound and so healing, like a session with a psychic medium or the QHHT, it takes a while for it to integrate into yourself.
Exactly.
People get so overwhelmed. Like in my sessions, they're like, oh, I don't know who Aunt Betty is. Sorry. You're completely making that up. And they'll come to me 2 weeks later. Oh my God, that was great Aunt Betty on my dad's side.
I don't
They
know
just,
who Aunt Betty is, but she came through.
yep.
Yeah.
They just don't remember because they're so overwhelmed with again, the emotions and the
Yeah.
fear and what is happening right now. And so to
Mhm.
integrate it is such a good advice.
Exactly. And then when you go home that evening and you have a nice sleep, that's when things start to integrate even more of your
Mhm.
session. So if we have a blueprint and a soul contracts, do we actually have free will?
Absolutely. Yes, we do. Free will is our greatest asset. And I see life as a partnership between destiny, which is your blueprint, and free will. So there may be certain opportunities and lessons and people that you agreed to appear along the path, but how we respond to them is always our choice. So how we can respond negatively, positively, we can take the longer route to get to the next destination. The free will determines how the story unfolds. The blueprint provides the possibilities. So it's like the setup,
Mm.
it's the map, it's the driving across cross country. There's certain towns that would be better to stop at to get gas. You could choose not to stop there and run out of gas shortly after. You
Mm-hmm.
always have that free will. You always have those choices that are available to you. But the blueprint is just saying these are the stops, these are the people, these are the opportunities. Like, this job, if you take it, is going to be a beautiful opportunity, but you might lose it in 10 years. If you don't take it, you can do this other job that you'll just hate, but you'll only have to do it for 2 years. So that it
Mm-hmm.
gives you different possibilities. It's just how you choose and how you get to the end goal of the lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you explained that quite well, Patty. If people can take one thing away from this conversation, what would you like for it to be?
You may not understand every experience while you're living it, but your life has meaning. Your challenges have taught you something. Your relationships have shaped you. And whether you believe in reincarnation, soul contracts, or simply personal growth, there's often more purpose woven into our journey than we can see in the moment. And sometimes the greatest gift is trusting that your soul knows exactly why it's here.
Thank you for joining us this evening. And please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And for more information, please visit our website at www.angelsinlight.com. And if this resonated with you, trust that. Your awareness is there for a reason. You just have to start listening to it. Bye bye.